Well, good morning, everybody. Today is what? Not June, January the 22nd, and this is Coffee Talk with Guido from the left side of the Atlantic.
And it's Pilgrim from the correct side of the Atlantic with his mug of tea, his Pilgrim mug of tea, and without anything in it, his Guido mug.
Very nice. Today. Very nice. Speaking of mugs,
Goose got his.
I was going to say.
Apparently.
Yeah, we rated him last week, I think, and he had the mug, so fantastic. Fantastic. Well, good morning, everybody. How's it going? We got incoming, Odd Dog, Bonzi, Bravo Mike, Stickler, Quodal, Jollins, some Pilgrim guy.
Yeah.
Whoever that guy is. And Bonzi with the sub, man. Thank you for the resub. Much appreciated. Coffee Talk. Boy, we got there's a lot of shenanigans right now. Pilgrim.
Do we start from the top and work down? Or do we just pile in there? We have to do the right things. But...
We meander aimlessly. Which is our want.
I think there is in chaos, there is a form of order in chaos. Did you know this?
That's right.
Chaos isn't chaotic. It has its own order.
It does have its own order. So that's their plan? Is that their cunning plan? Is that...
I think that's a stunning... No, their cunning stunt. Nearly got that wrong, didn't I?
You almost did. I don't know what wrong would be in that, but I have no idea what you're trying to say. That's a dangerous one, actually. Say that.
Isn't it?
Yeah, that's the one you try to say 10 times fast, and it comes out poorly.
It comes out poorly for me every time, which is why I had to pinch myself just then.
Comes out sounding like an Australian.
Yeah.
That's one of their favorite words, from what I can tell.
It is, yeah. And it's not good eye.
No, mate. Shrimp on the Barbie. Ooh, I had some shrimp on the Barbie last night.
Good.
Yeah.
What, is it the first time this year? Shrimp on the Barbie? Or
well, it wasn't exactly that, but it was bacon wrapped. Bacon wrapped shrimp.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
See, I need to move to Florida. I can't do this. This is still frost and snow. That's why it's white.
Well, good. So
the other week.
You'll enjoy this. We had our final Christmas party last night.
Really? Out on the beach?
No, here at the house. My wife, as I've told you before, is the Christmas lady. She absolutely loves it. In fact, you can still see we have Christmas stuff up. Theoretically, we're about to take it down, but generally, in the past, she has found ways to not take it down. So we'll see what happens. But we did it on the porch outside. It was a nice 55 degrees or so, and played cornhole and watched the playoffs, hanging out on the porch.
I mean, you're just living the life, aren't you?
Yeah.
Living the life.
Notice I said the playoffs, as if that is like everyone. The playoff, the NFL playoffs. Yeah.
Oh, NFL. Right, okay.
Yep. Yeah. 2 games yesterday, and we'll have 2 more today. McKay needs a coffee.
Did the Gators win? Was the Gators in it?
Gators are done. That's college. They finished a while back.
It?
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Oh,
they finished. So it's, the NFL, the professional teams. So that's cool. McKay's going to go get some coffee. Diablo's here. Good morning. What is this NFL? Yeah, a lot of people have boycotted it for various reasons. I don't know. That's too close.
Why? Is it being very political or something?
Yeah, it's political. I was about to get into it, but it's not something I really want to talk about on the channel.
Right, it's only football, for crying out loud. Get over it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I am not unsympathetic to the reason the people boycott it. I have friends that definitely did it. But we're going to talk about tanks and
yeah, won't we? And anything else that comes up other than football.
Yeah, and then we can say we're going to boycott Wargaming for their shenanigans lately.
Aren't they? The shenanigans is a good word.
Yeah. Boycott tanks. Man, guys, what is going on, man? I don't know. I'm not really sure. We have talked, remember, probably about 6 months ago, we started kind of discussing. We've always discussed it, but you and I have discussed it multiple times in the last 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
With all the reorg and all the things going on, and I think we've always been fairly level-headed, and if anything, leaning a little towards wargaming and understanding that it's a business and there's things you have to do, and reorgs are tough, and where are we going? We're not really sure. We're kind of watching. Maybe it's getting better. It keeps rolling downhill, man. It is.
It does.
It feels like it's picking up momentum.
Yeah, it feels like it's an unstoppable beast right now.
Yeah.
I feel like Wargaming are running away with themselves. Do you know what? It feels like too many ideas, not enough focus. It's like a million ideas have been thrown in, and they're trying to get them all to work in and everything else. And they bring in different sort of competitions, different formats, and then they're bringing out. And now they're talking about Crew 2.0 will happen, so on and so on. I just think it's like too unfocused. Just keep throwing it in there.
It looks a lot like every large organization reorg I've ever seen, where the baby, the bathwater, and everything else goes out.
Yeah.
Right? Everything is out the window, but it's so large and ungainly that it can't turn corners well. So it's attempting to change. It's attempting to change culture and change processes, but it's trying to do it with its old structure, which is the reason they got into the problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely, it is very much like that behemoth of type of a company. This huge, unstoppable beast that's rolling along, and people within the company are trying to, I don't know, make the game more relevant to the younger generation, whatever it might be, whatever their ideas are. But you're quite right; they're so enmeshed into this structure and the framework that it's just cruising along, unstoppable.
And we'll get to it. But this experimental equipment rollout is a great example of.
Absolutely.
Of that. But anyway, channel news, fellas. We are. I am actually still. I don't know if Gator's in here. I am still trying to get Domo to send the prizes out from Wargaming. That there's another example. It's been a month.
Normally Domo was on the ball with that.
It's been a month. I've been trying to get him to. It's a type 64 and 7 days of premium time to King of the Noobs. I think it was.
Right.
And it's a T40 to Gator 99.
Right.
And
not happening.
Yeah. Unreal. But again, I don't know what they're dealing with. So there you go. So we're still working on that, fellas. All the Christmas boxes have gone out. That's all fine. Let's see, 100 battle challenge. I'm on the AMBT. I am still grinding the BZs, fellas. I have started to enjoy. We'll talk a little bit more about how the Chinese tanks are doing when we get to subjects du jour. But I am much more enjoying the tier 7 than 58.
Okay.
That one's getting closer to 50%. I'm at 45 now. I'm only 5 under 50%, so that's going much better. And I will tell you this: I'm learning a lot about how the way of the rocket.
The way of the rocket.
Yeah, I'm learning the way of the rocket.
Confucius say.
And I will just give this small leader on that. It doesn't have a lot to do with getting to the front first. It has.
See, I thought this when everybody was banging on about, and I was one of them banging on about, is that you'll get into the good position first because you can fire your rockets. And then something was nagging me in the back of the head about that, thinking, yeah, that could use up your 3 rockets to get into position. Then what do you do?
There is something. There is something to that, and I think it's much more effective to something like the 176 because it has that stupid round and gun. For the rest of them, it is useful to get in position to shoot it. That is always a factor, but it seems to me to be a little more useful to be. And again, we'll get to this, to be a little more...
Go into it.
Yeah, to be a little more... what's the word I'm looking for? Conservative.
Conservative in the use.
Initially. And then you've got some options later, which I'll do some videos and stuff. We'll talk a little bit about it later. But yeah, it's pretty... It's starting to grow on me a little bit.
How far are you with... just a complete tangent then, how far are you with the AMBT then? Are you nearly there?
AMBT is... 50-something battles, but I sort of picked it up and that's been on my primary list because I enjoy it so much. I'm at 48 with that one.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
All right. But you like that tank anyway, don't you?
I do, yeah. I do. Yeah. I think it does pretty well. So that's where we are on the 100 Battle Challenge. The BZ 166, the Tier 8 Tech Tree tank, review should be out this week. I am still doing a lot of Civ 6. I had a pretty epic game. I did a video on that, which will come out next Saturday. For those of you who are interested, a little update on a game I was playing, which I learned some things, which is good. Next stream, I don't know, fellas. No idea. Schedule is not conducive to it right now, but if I can sneak one in next week, I'll do it.
Cool.
What I probably need to do is start just doing like 2-hour streams when I can. Just knock it out. Not that it's work or anything, but usually I try to get 3 or 4 hours to do it, and it looks more like I can get 2 in at times. So we'll see. And
well, the thing is, not having a day off or having an afternoon off from work, you've lost the 4-hour slot there straight away, haven't you? You can't do it. You know.
And
I mean, right, Mustang Cobra's in the house. Good morning. How are you? Gator's in. Yes. Bravo, Mike. Oh, yes.
Look at the size of this ridiculous thing.
It is, isn't it? It is. It is. It is crazy, isn't it? Look at the size of the fans on them, though. Those fans are bigger than my actual rig fans. You know what I mean? And that's just the GPU fans.
This 30 series I thought was large, so you don't get a lot of context with just that. But here's the difference.
Good grief. Good. Most of it is heatsink.
Yeah.
I mean, the GPU is going to be whatever size it is. Most of that is the heatsink.
Yeah, that whole section right there is all heatsink.
Artillery Bugs in the house. Bravo, Mike. Fast Red Horse. Welcome all.
So that being said,
whose kidney did you sell to get that then?
Well, that's you guys, man, supporting the channel. Which is what I just was going to do with the money the whole time. Pilgrim and I were discussing this, but I was going to get a nice throttle quadrant. I was going to get a Warthog and with the F-16 set up and a throttle quadrant and all that, but that's going to have to get pushed down the line because I've more or less used all the funds I had building the rig that I've got. So. But we also discussed how we're going to fit that stupid thing in there.
Yeah.
It's a 4090, Bravo Mike. 4090. And it's the...
But if you look, as we were discussing about, if you pull it back up and show the troops...
It's a gigabyte.
If you look... It's a gigabyte, yeah. Cool. But if you look at the way it's designed... The way it's fitted, NVIDIA was saying it's fitted to the top of the case, so it hangs down from the case. And apparently that's been causing problems. So what you need to do is have the heat rise, don't you? So you have to lay your computer.
They go in sideways, at least in the past they have, because the PCI Express. This is the only connection to it, and that's so much weight. There's no way that piece of
going to
board.
So have it the other way. Have it on its it slots in downwards.
And this little bracket is what's supposed to hold it, but there's no way it's going to hold the weight. It'll hold the weight on the case side, on the wall side, the back side, but something has to be braced back here, and that's going to be a trick.
You almost have to have the plugged in going downwards, won't you?
Even then, I'm going to have to brace the other end of it because it's going to lever.
Yes.
There's no way that thing's going to lock in. At least it'll. I mean, it's just going to fall. Right now the whole. I would say right now with cards, unless they're able to figure out how to make them smaller, which they really should be able to make them smaller, but that's their next thing, and really it's the heat sink and the stupid fans and everything.
Wayne's turned up. Good morning, Wayne.
Morning, Wayne. So guys, what I'm thinking then, and some of you are builders and know what you're talking about way more than I do, but I'm going to take the case and lay it on its side. So that the card is down, and I'm going to have to brace it underneath somehow. It does have a bracket that hooks into the case, but the bracket's for holding it sideways. I hope I'll be able to modify it a little bit, or maybe just put some underneath it, or I don't know, but brace that other heavy end, the far end of it, and then I'm going to I'm going to take some wood I've got, and I'm going to build a stand so I get it up off the ground about yay far. As far as I can. I can't go too far because it's under my desk. So, I don't want it up against the top of the desk, but I don't want it laying on the ground. So it's going to be about that high, and it'll be on the corners of the case. and it'll sit there like that, and I'll just have to. That'll have to be the way it's done.
If you're doing it that way, so the motherboard is lying flat, then there'll be scope to put little neoprene or plastic pegs underneath it to hold. You don't have to build a frame. You'll just have to rest it on some form of little peg, or
because
like a little chuck.
The part of the case that part is on is just metal from the case, so.
Okay,
I'll be able to put something under there.
Yeah.
That will
to hold it.
That's the right size that will hold it. So.
Right. Okay.
The fix for the 3090 with this case was this thing right here, which it would sit on that on the far end. I could do that with this one, but
you can move those arms.
Yeah, they go up and down.
So it will fit the 4090.
Oh sure. Yeah, this goes up. Okay. So you slide that for the bottom one, and then you put the top one on. It actually just slides anyway. It's a little looser.
But it's not going to be pleasing to the eye. But at least you can rig it up so it will stay cool.
But I don't think I'm even going to use that, because if this fails or starts to get loose or what, eventually, that thing is so heavy, and I'm not even certain, to be honest with you, how structurally sound it will be at the other end, even though it's screwed into the back.
Yeah.
So
very interesting, isn't it?
Bravo, Mike. That was actually that was an option.
Big on the tie wrap.
Zip. I was thinking about, well, if worst comes to worst, I could zip tie it to the top of the case or wire it or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Super glue zip tie and some string.
So that's gonna be a saga in its own right. And then I'm also waiting. I did buy another 2 terabyte M2 SSD. So my board has 4 slots. There's one in one slot with the 1 terabyte it came with. I bought a 2 terabyte at a pretty good price. They just always keep coming on down, man. So
we'll have to do a an SSD fitting, transferring BIOS working video for Pilgrim, because I put off buying an SSD because it started to get complicated. When I looked into it, it started to get complicated to transfer all my data from my existing hard drive to the SSD, and then start to mess with the BIOS and all the rest of it to tell the computer that you've got an SSD. So I want one. I genuinely want one, because I've got this lump inside the rig that is my hard drive at the moment. I want to get it off all that and get it onto an SSD.
Well, first of all, you need to know what your motherboard's capable of. If it even has an M2 slot. If it has an M2 slot, I would suggest the M2 SSD as opposed to a SATA SSD, just standard core.
All right.
Standard wire. Right. That's the first step.
I'd need to know all that information, which
Yeah.
You've seen my phone. We're not going there. I'd need a step-by-step. Pick this up and poke this and press that.
Oh, that's awesome, Stickler. My first one that my family had wasn't necessarily mine. Was a 4K Commodore PET that didn't have a hard drive. It was tape. Had a tape drive. It actually didn't come with a tape drive. It didn't even come with a tape drive. You had to buy that separate.
Yeah.
And it was a cassette tape.
Remember the VIC 20?
Yeah, my dad had that too.
Yeah, that was my first ever family computer with a dot matrix printer attached to it, and the Pong game.
Yep.
I will reach out, Bravo Mike. Thank you. I will reach out, but I need to get my head around it. I will actually buy. First of all, as Guido says, I've got to understand whether my motherboard will take whatever it is I want to look at.
Well, it will certainly take a SATA drive. A SATA SSD. So it's an SSD that is wired in on probably what you're already wired up with, whatever drive you've got in there.
Sure.
Are you saying it's got a mechanical drive on it, or you don't know what kind of drive it's got?
Well, it's not an SSD. It's the thing that whirs and does that. With a little line that goes across. Yeah. Don't get really me. I think I've no idea.
How old is it? I thought you just.
Yeah, it's only 18 months old. It's probably
there's no way
making it out to be.
There's no way you've got a mechanical drive on that.
Well, it's not an SSD. Put it that way.
Really? You sure it doesn't have
It's 3 years old now. Are
you sure it doesn't have an SSD and a mechanical drive for storage?
No, it definitely doesn't have. No, it only has one drive. Let me. I'll tell you what it's got. I'll put it in chat. Where is it?
Okay.
While you're talking, I'll
all right. So yeah, I've been doing some other games, Civilization, all that good stuff. Next stream, we'll see. I will keep you apprised of the 4090 saga. I would have loved to have just tossed it in, but of course that's not that easy with that thing. So we'll see what happens. I actually got it at close to MSRP with a deal that I think it was Manos actually saw it and had put it in the CC chat. I'm like, hey man, where did you get that? And then he sent me the link to the, I think it was Newegg, and I went there. I'm like, holy crap! There was only 5 left, so I grabbed one.
Did you?
I got it for a good price.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
that's good though, isn't it?
I
mean, given what prices they are.
Crazy. Oh, we'll get to that, Wayne. We'll get to that, my friend. Hello, Gravelode. All right. While you're doing that, though, I guess it's time to shill, my friend.
It is, yeah. Let's get that on. I can't find.
Oh man, it's shenanigans. It's shenanigans.
Shenanigans. It is.
It is shenanigans, my friends. Let's get over here. We'll get the shop going and whatnot. All right. So what do we have? Faux sale. Provided you're still spending money. I don't know how many people are at this point.
Got money to spend.
We'll get that later. Primo Victoria is back. And The Offspring. So the 2 band collabs are back. Also, you can buy Lunar crates.
You see, I just think it's a money sink. All of this nonsense. It's a money sink, man. They're just grabbing.
All right, so somebody check my math. We're going to also go over here with this. Let me get the... I'm looking at this today. We're going to kind of go all over the place on this one. Let's go back here. I'm looking at this. We go into Depot, my friends, and then down here to the little parachute, home front supplies, which is where Lunar New Year is. That's used for Prime Gaming stuff. But anyway, for whatever reason, they've put it in the Depot, not the store. This time it's in the Depot. Makes no sense. Under what you normally see the Prime Gaming stuff. But in any event, that's how you get to the store, at least one of the ways. Now, I was looking at this today because I hadn't paid close attention to it. And I've already bought one of these things for $150, so I would have 400 coins right now. And I haven't done all the missions. So I went, "Oh, okay." Because if you slide down to the bottom here, so to speak, you can actually get a Type 62 for 2,000 coins.
Right, yeah.
And I went, "Oh, wow. Pretty cool." So how many missions do you have to do to get your free Type 62? Well, I went over here and I said, let's find out. And I went to Lunar Celebrations. And I noted that I'd done 3 days worth. So I'm behind. I'm not gonna get all 10 days. Took me a while to figure this out. I went 100, 200, 300. I said, all right, so I should have got 300 coins. I went back to the depot, back to here, 4 clicks later. And I said, 400, I have 250, spent 150. There's some coins missing. And then I said, okay, let's go to the article. Right. So go back to the article, find out if it talks about the missions and how many coins we can get. And check my math, fellas, because I could be wrong. But we go here, Lunar New Year. Here we go. Spring is here. Spring is here. What? Is it? Is it?
Is it really? It's like middle of January. Really?
I don't understand that. Okay. Why would that... Oh my... Is Chinese Lunar New Year, is that the deal? Is it connected with spring?
I don't know.
I mean, it might be. Maybe...
Well, yeah.
Anyway, that's a whole... I guess that's another subject. So we come down to the missions. Wherever the heck they went. Where are they? I passed them, didn't I? There we go. So there are 10 days. It goes to... there it is. 20 January to 1 February. So maybe I'm on track. Am I on track? I could be, actually. And you get 100 lunar stamps, and then there's a bonus reward for doing it the same day. So that's how they try to get you to go each day, right?
Yes.
So that's 150 stamps times 10 days. How many stamps is that? 1,500, right?
Yeah.
And how much is the Type 62 in coins?
Did you say
2,000? 2,000.
Yeah. Right.
So you're 500 coins short, from what I can tell.
Yeah.
Bitwise, quit giving it away. Quit giving it away. Right, exactly. So Bitwise is on track, and that is what my calculations were. So good. I'm glad that we have independent confirmation of my sometimes not great math skills, which means, from what I can tell, is, and this is the 250 lunar stamp one, you're going to pay $10.
Yeah.
On the NA server.
Yeah.
To get your, basically you're going to get a discounted Type 62 for $10, but unable to get it for free. Not enough tickets.
No. Isn't that the way that this game is going these days? I don't know. That's terrible, isn't it?
Now here's a question. If I do that, and I have this in the garage, do I get gold compensation or credit compensation?
That is a good point, because historically they've stopped doing that with gold, haven't they?
Well, they'll tell you on the fine print. I bet it's not here because this is not really selling the Type 62, even though it's, wait a minute, hold on. Price includes VAT, payment methods, you final price. So there's nothing there. Make your way. Lunar stamps are non-refundable. Exchange for variable goods. Da, 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 da. It doesn't really say on that. But you're getting camouflage. You're getting some. For $10, you're getting camo, 9 camouflage. You're getting 6 personal reserves.
Right.
And the 250 stamps. Oh, wait. It gets better. Available for me, 1. Is that
really?
True? No way. No, that can't be right. Is that? Wow. Wow. You have got to be effing me. Is that what I'm getting, fellas? That you're going to have to buy the large crate, the large lunar crate, to get enough coins. And that's $22.
Wow. Wow. Just wow, isn't it? I mean, am I flabbergasted? Yes, I am, because it's just barefaced buffoonery.
Tell me I'm missing something. Somebody tell me I'm missing something here. Oh, but wait, there's more. Perhaps you buy the 252 for $52 and you get enough to get your, how many? 750. There you go.
Oh, dear. Oh, wow. Shocking.
I am actually speechless on that one. What am I missing? I don't think I'm missing anything. You can get.
No, I think you're right.
You do all the missions. You get 1,500.
Yeah.
You need 500 more. You can't do it with the 2 small crates. You can only buy this crate once. You have to buy the big crate.
Yeah.
Or package or whatever, bundle. That large lunar.
Yeah. To get the extra, because there is no other way. I'm just looking myself now. I can't see any other way to get. Well, hang on, no, because you start off. Oh, hang on a minute. No, hang on. You do start off with some already gifted just for logging in, don't you?
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh.
I got 75 just for logging in.
Well, that's
not a lot, but I got 75.
Okay, so 75 plus. Let's see. That's still not enough. Because
not enough, is it?
250 plus 150 is 475. You're 25 short.
So he's still going to have to spend money. That's terrible. That is terrible. Oh, man. Good old wargaming.
Quotal, maybe. Maybe. Good point. Maybe. So if you're going to try to get the type, guys, obviously save up all your coins, because who knows? Maybe by the end there will have been another mission chucked out, or maybe there's a drop scheme going in the next week, or I don't know. So possibly. It's a great little tank. I really quite enjoy the Type 62. It's a good little tier 7 or 6.
7, I think it is.
Yeah. Light tank. All right, so there you go. That's kind of what I wanted to show you guys there, because I wasn't sure if what I was seeing was right, and it looks like it is, unless there is an unknown element of some extra coins or whatever you can get later. Yeah, so you'll end up spending. Yeah, Heisenberg.
Mission or something. I don't know.
Exactly, Heisenberg. That's what I thought. The type is usually around 20, 25, somewhere in there anyway. All right, 252 is there. Get some more of the coins, tickets, stamps, whatever we're calling them right there.
That gives you the 252's got the what do you call it though? Has it not got the camo with it? The lunar camo. Am I seeing the wrong thing here?
Well, the package has all kinds of stuff. It's got. This does not have any camo on it that I see. Stamps, missions, and personal reserves.
Oh, okay.
And some gold. Because let's chuck some gold on and charge it when people are flush with gold from Christmas.
Have I missed a trick? Have you seen the 100,000 gold and bonuses package?
No, where is it?
It's in featured. Go to featured. You might have to.
That's where I am. Is this down at the bottom?
No, it's up the top. It's the very first thing I see. It's got.
That must be you.
No. This is an. I'm on NA.
Hmm.
This is refresh. Refresh your.
Okay, you think it maybe just came out?
Yeah, I think it's just kicked in because this wasn't on earlier on when I had a look.
No, I still don't see it. My top two are these two offspring tanks, or Sabaton tanks.
Right. Well, it's not EU. It's that. Oh no. Yeah, I'm on World of Warplanes. I'm on World of Warplanes. I've just looked at it and gone $400, nearly $500 for this package. Who is going to spend that? Well, it's World of Warplanes.
All right, folks. So I'm sorry to say, but Pilgrim's going to go have to take his nap.
I need to lie down.
Yeah. All right, where else are we? We had the Lanson. We have the 4190 out. The Sturv K is back, the Tier 9. The OG Tier 9. And if you just want that thing, it's 5088. No, there's another version of it somewhere, I thought. Oh, I thought they were selling just it.
Oh, it's not the 252 premium.
Oh, there it is. $55.
All right.
$55.
Thank you.
All right, so that's that. We're not going to worry about gold. There's nothing in there, nor premium. Specials-wise, I think it's all the same stuff, fellas. It's the Lunar New Year stuff. You can get, by the way, and let's show you, the 252 for gold. How you say?
This is the Chinese 252, isn't it?
No. No, it's the Russian.
What? No, it's the Russian 252.
Yeah.
But with the lunar package. Am I missing it?
That's the festive bundle you buy in the in-game store for gold.
Right, but it's not a Chinese tank, is it?
No.
It's not lunar something to do with China. I don't know. I give up.
You're getting fixated on it. I understand your point.
Yeah.
But it's wargaming, so I don't know how to answer.
More tea.
I don't know how to answer that. I can't answer it.
More tea, Vicar.
More tea, Vicar. All right, here's another thing.
I've sent you a picture. I've sent while we're off on a tangent. I've sent you the details of my hard drive.
All right, I'll look at it after.
Confirm.
Because confirm. Yeah, I can't look at it now because Discord's being used for our cameras.
No.
Here's the other thing that cracks me up. We've noted this in the past, but Lunar New Year is also coming with some with some discounts, fellas. We have consumables, equipment, and free XP. So we've got the 40-to-1 free XP conversion, which is a good deal as far as converting free XP. Consumable sales are always great, and the equipment sales are good too. So, but I always find it funny because they do this. So we go in here for the equipment, and let's actually just do it this way on this section here because it's easier to see. Or sorry, not equipment, but consumables. So you go here and go, all right, well, so what am I going to say? Well, it's a 50%. All right, noted. And we go, ooh, 50%. And then this thing you're looking at going, oh, this is even more than 50%. But this is hilarious because what happens with these bundles when it's a 50% is it's normally discounted a little bit. So instead of these 30 things costing 600,000, if you buy the package normally every day, you get a 60,000 discount. So the discount isn't off of the other discount; it's off of the standard. So you're really buying this for the same price as if you did it individually. So this is not any better of a deal than coming down here and just getting them individually.
No, it's not, is it?
No,
I'm running through that now. Get out.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Isn't that terrible? Isn't that terrible?
Now, I suppose there's a little method to that madness, because if there was a discount, if it was strictly 50% off the normal price, you would be able to do some pilgrinomics.
Yeah. I'm just looking at that now because I'm thinking, hang on a minute.
Yeah. And that's why they do that. So you can't buy a bunch of these packages and then sell them back and make 30,000 extra on each one.
Oh, man. Yeah. I just thought I was up there. I thought I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Now is not the time to sell anything, though, is it?
No, do not sell it. No. Oh, and there was actually a problem with that. That's part of the experimental equipment shenanigans we'll get to in a moment.
Yeah. So what you're saying then, I should just go down and purchase individually as opposed to getting the packages? Is this what
There's no difference. It makes no difference. It's the same price. So if you may be in the market for all three of them, or you may want so many of each one. So it makes, basically what I'm saying is it makes no difference. You go ahead and get whichever one you want.
Yeah, I was just going to say that because if I'm buying food of any sort, you sort of want to buy food for the nations that you're playing your tanks with. So
yeah,
I mean, I would always do it individually anyway because they don't offer bundles with the right food on.
I don't even bother buying food.
Do you not?
No, I don't. No, I just use what I have, and if I'm paying 20 a game for it, I don't care.
Got you. Okay. Oh, that's not a bad.
I mean, I don't tend to be in trouble with credits, so if you're working on the edge and you do use food, then yes, buy it at a discount, 100%. But I don't bother with it because I play too many different nations and tanks and stuff. If I have it, I have it. I don't always play with it on a tank either. So.
No, you don't. You're hardcore, aren't you?
Well, I mean, if you want to be competitive, you probably are doing that. I hate burning. I hate it when I get lit on fire and I just watch the hit points just.
Yes, no, that's nothing worth. But to be fair to wargaming, the crew skill tends to negate that a little bit. So if you've got a fully skilled up crew with the firefighting, you can get away with not having the firefighting on there.
Right.
Which is useful.
Moss Deb, how are you, man? Yeah, I'm only on level 18, fellas. So that was the next subject there of the old battle pass, which I'll tell you what, there's so much crap going on. I kind of forgot this was even happening, and it's only been out for a week or so.
Yeah.
You know? I am not going to make it to the end for sure, so I will be paying. As of right now, we only have 3 days left to go, and I'll probably get another couple levels maybe. But I'm going to spend 8,000 for the tank, which is plus 3,000. So I'm starting to get into discount territory, but not too much.
Right. Well, yeah. All right. So, for the average player, like I said to you before we started streaming, I'm doing it on the EU free to play account. So I'm at level 24, which I'm there with the discount now, which. That is worth buying because I wouldn't have done what I did on the NA account at all on the EU account.
Yeah.
That is just buying my way all the way through.
Yeah.
Because it's just free gold. I don't care. It was gold that I got at Christmas. It doesn't make any difference. But as a streamer, as a CC, I guess you have to go through that sort of, process because people want to see how it works and what it's all about.
Well, funny you say that, because we didn't really get the ability to do that with the T832 that was put on. We have press accounts.
Oh no, you didn't, did you? No.
Yeah, we don't get the stuff as of right now. It's been a while since I've been given something to, other than on a press account. So I get access to the content on a different account.
Yeah.
Which is certainly something. You have some inside access, but that appears to be the new normal, from what I can tell.
Right. Okay.
So
interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it has made
things are changing.
Yeah, and it has made the being a CC less lucrative, I would say.
But does it stop you doing what you do? It doesn't. It hasn't impacted you hard enough to say, this is ridiculous. I can't create content.
Well, no, I mean it's access, right? I mean other people don't get press accounts. I have a press account with every tank on it, and when they get a new one, they say, all right, the NDA, I can't talk about it. It's kind of interesting, actually. Might as well get into it a little bit here. But see, what happens is when they have a new tank coming out, you've signed an NDA with them, so you don't talk about it until the release date. So they'll have a date and time with which everybody can release their video at the same time.
Right.
But the problem is
everybody sticks to that, do they? Generally.
That's another subject.
Okay.
Yeah, that gets into the leak. That gets into the leak stuff. Gets into and it was a bigger problem a while ago, but it still kind of happens. So, and that's why I'm bringing this up. So you have a release date now with the T832 and currently the Lion. They're in the files. I can go down here right now and I can add the Lion to this comparison tool. I can go like this. I can go to medium tanks, Italian, tier 10, and lo and behold, the freaking Lion is in there. And I can add that. Right. And I can look at its stats. There it is, right. the Lion, all right?
Yeah.
It's been added to the files. Generally, when they add a tank to the files, it's close to release in some manner, all right?
Yeah.
But I've signed an NDA. So
you can't talk anything about it.
Well, yes and no. I can talk about it in terms of the stats that are in the game that are publicly available. But let's say I had played it, then I can't talk about whether I've played it or not, right? And that's a fine line. And then there's some guys are talking, they're like, oh well, it basically if you have played it and then you're talking about it, then maybe you're breaking the NDA because there's no way that you have inside information, even though you're only going on public information, which is total BS
to anybody watching it.
Catch-22, because somebody who's not a CC can go in there and talk all he wants about the stats. Yes. So on the one hand, they're giving you access to stuff, and on the other hand, you're a little more limited, supposedly. The thing is, my channel's so small, I could probably talk about nearly anything I wanted to. I don't, but I could talk about a lot of stuff that wouldn't really get a lot of press. But the bigger guys, obviously, that are watched a lot more.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a crappy way to do it, and it puts the CCs in a position that if they do it wrong, there is a technical, I'll say legal, but not in terms of like you're actually legally in trouble, but legal in terms of NDA discussions between you and Wargaming. You've violated the NDA, which probably only means you would get kicked off, or they would talk to you, or if it got bad enough and they thought they'd lost money from it, they could sue your ass.
Yeah.
So it's starting to get to that situation where I'm kind of like, you know what? I don't know if I need this kind of BS. Getting jacked around and jerked around. And not that it matters for Guido with his whole, 2,500 subs on YouTube. No great loss for either of us, to be quite honest. But it's
how much you wish to devote time into this. You know what I mean? You already devote time to create the content and do what you do. And it's not all for wargaming, it's because you enjoy doing it and it's good for the community that we've got running here and all the rest of it. But then you start to question, if they're going to jack me around like this, why am I using my own time to do this nonsense, you know?
Right.
You're not doing me any favours, bud. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sort of thing you say to wargaming, don't you? You say to wargaming, oh, you're not doing me any favours. I'm not after favours, but if you want me to promote this game, you have to give me a level of access into the game to be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's the move over to the EU and the consolidation is still ongoing, so it's not the same kind of attitude on EU as it was on NA, which is in some ways disappointing. So, I mean, at the end of the day, what I say, I do have access to stuff other people don't, which is cool. I do appreciate that. I am able to make content and be ready to drop it at the start date. There's some stupidity involved with some of that. There's a lot of jerking around with schedules and when it's going to be and when it's not going to be and trying to get the timing right because they're doing it worldwide with a lot of different. So it almost invariably always gets buffooned somehow.
Yeah,
that's something I dealt with in the military. When you start talking about operations, especially for the U.S. military, who has assets in a wide range of time zones, that's why the Air Force or the military uses Zulu time, which you guys do as well.
Absolutely.
So that everyone's using a common time reference. So that oftentimes gets screwed up, and then we get into the whole debacle with experimental equipment. Again, that's coming up, guys. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
We'll talk about that. Can I just jump in on chat? Banzai, see this, right? This is a new camera, so the old camera had that sort of azimuth. It sort of did that. Now it's a new camera. Yeah, this is a very English thing. This is my changing room, but in the changing room is a spare bed. So I have my wardrobe, my shoe rack. You can see at the back there. So I get changed in it. It's a very English thing. You guys don't do that, you know what I mean? But nobody wants to see my hairy arse.
Well, now you're set up. Now you're set up for a nap stream. We can do.
This is a nap stream, yeah.
Yeah, you can. We'll get you set up with OBS, and then we can stream you napping.
What's very freakily weird watching Pilgrim sleep, but yeah, we can go with that.
Look, man, you never know. That might be the next thing because
it might be the hook.
Some of the garbage on Twitch is unreal. Unreal.
Yeah, absolutely. Excuse me. Yeah, I am lucky. I've got a bed actually. That's where I go when I've disfavored the House General. Put it that way.
Well, you know what, Brute? That's an interesting comment because they go together. To be quite honest, if we're all honest about this, you do the content creation. I enjoy doing the videos. I like helping people learning how to do the game. I like to learn how to play the game and talk about it. But then it is a feedback loop because we're sitting here talking about the shenanigans, which I'm then using to create content. So it's easy to get wrapped up in the whole cycle of it. You know, it's the old love to hate. Like, okay, great, I have content about bitching about something that's going on. So talking out both sides of the mouth. You know what I mean?
Well, when we get into it, I mean, I've got some as always, very particular viewpoints about this whole thing, and we'll get into it because I think it has a. I know wargaming. All right, we'll get into it when we talk about it because I really want to go to town on this.
Let's finish up the shilling. We gotta.
Yeah.
Hold on. Reset. Okay, there we go. All right, we're reset. This is hard.
It's hard to shill, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard to shill.
There we go. Let's try.
Yeah. Pimping ain't easy, fellas. All right.
No.
I think we're done anyway. Lanson, pretty good tank. The Sabaton stuff. Oh, there's another. Oh my God, this is awesome. The other shoe has just dropped, my friends. Look what I just found.
Are you in specials?
Look what I just found at the bottom.
I can't see it on the screen.
I am currently in specials. Let's go back to featured. Let's go back to featured and see if it's the same thing here. All right. Oh, that is so beautiful. All right. So all right. This is great. Tiny. small. I didn't put this together. Tiny, small, large. Tiny. Is there
small, large.
Is there something between small and large usually?
Not in Wargaming's head. Not there anyway.
Oh, not there. No, not there. Let's just slide her on down, so to speak, my friends. Oh, hello, medium lunar crate that has 500 tokens.
It's a medium one. But they do that with everything. They've got, like, the tank packages. They have the Supreme package. They have the not-so-Supreme package. And then they have the standard somewhere else on the screen.
Yeah, but do you understand the significance based on what we were talking about here? This is the one that has the 500 you need.
The 500, yes, that's what I mean.
So,
you're right.
The tank is actually $13.54 on the
There you go. We've got it right now. Yeah, it's going to cost you $13 and some change. I wonder if they. I think they consciously do that. I really do think they consciously do that.
Look at Heisenberg's comment.
Yeah. You'd have had one stamp less.
Dude, that is so spot on, Heisenberg. That is absolutely perfect. Yep. But second best was to hide it at the bottom.
Yes, good old Wargaming.
Once again, the comment with these guys, especially with their website design, was this a mistake or is it an error of commission or omission? Which one is it? I don't know which one's worse. To be honest,
I think it was active. I think it was an active. I think somebody decided that's what they were going to do.
You think that's a psychological marketing standard?
I think it is. I mean, 100% because they've got precedence with it because they do it with the tank packages.
Right. So it's a constant mistake, or they're doing it on purpose.
Well, if you look at like the Prima Victoria packages, let me go back. Let me see if I can find it.
Well, they're all over the place too.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So you get the Deluxe and the Supreme together, and you think, oh, that's all there is, until you actually scroll to the bottom, and you get the standard package right at the bottom, just above garage slots, where nobody ever goes to buy anything. Nobody buys garage slots, do they? So they don't even go that far down. It's a marketing point.
You've been relegated to the garage slot section. You're up there in the nosebleeds. This ticket is not down here. You're up there. Get your ass in the peon area.
Exactly.
Wargaming, what have you wrought, my friends? All right, so scratch all that. You know, and I did say, unless there's something I'm missing, and there was something I was missing. So if you want your Type 62 and you're going to do all the missions, which are fairly easy, then you can get a Type 62 for $13, which is actually a pretty decent deal for a Type 62.
Yeah.
So on that note, I will say, cool, Wargaming, that works.
Yeah.
On the rest of the notes of how long that took to it, plus whoever's watching to figure that out. If somebody told us up there, I missed it. But wow.
I didn't see it. No, to be honest, I didn't see it.
I just can't even sometimes.
No. There's no point. It's like, do you know, I compare Wargaming to the female of our species. Unfathomable.
Okay.
No misunderstanding. You can't fathom what the female of our species is thinking, doing, or wants. You just might as well just go with the flow. Wargaming is generically female. Just go with the flow. They provided everything we men need, and we just shouldn't question it.
All right, we'll be back with more misogyny as soon as we're done. Taking a break. We're gonna retrain Pilgrim. We're gonna put him through a 5-minute training anti-misogyny event, and we'll be right back. All right, 5 minutes, guys. I have to recharge anyway. I'm almost out of coffee.
Yeah.
And my eyeballs are floating at this point as well. So we'll be back. 5 minutes, fellas.
We who spoke in a tongue with strange dialect. He offered his help to the mighty Guido to bring some laughter to his love of speedos. To the coffee talk they both came, to bring the message of winning ways to all and sundry and the masses. Yes, that's right, lads and lasses. The damage counts and flexing back will keep you on the right track. Guido is his name, tanking is his game. Guido. Guido is his name, tanking is his game. Guido. So in what, if you want to progress, then seek out Guido nonetheless. With his sidekick Pilgrim, he has a message that to win you must be aggressive. The position and place that you must seek, for the winners only, not the weak. The guru speaks, so listen well. His voice rings out like the Liberty Bell, to bring you all to Unicom land, or to die hard trying in the sand. Guido is his name, tanking is his game. Guido. Guido is his name, tanking is his game. Guido. To the swamplands came the mountain man to teach his wisdom and pay his due. A man with a name only known to a few. To his followers his words are true. Guido is the man, big and gruff. He used to fly jets, but now he does the tanking stuff. Guido is his name, tanking is his game. Guido. Guido is his name, tanking is his game. Guido. The mountains are home where he watches the moose and hummingbirds aplenty.
That wasn't the right button. That's the right button. All right, fellas, we are back. We are back. Let's see. Maybe come option this year. What are we talking about here? Buy them as a gift.
Yeah, they were talking about.
That would actually be cool.
That would, wouldn't it? Yeah. I'd like that.
Yeah. All right. So where are we with all this? We're on to subjects du jour. Subjects du jour.
Are we going straight in there, or are we going to do something else?
What else are we going to do?
There is nothing else, is there?
No, there's nothing else. We're done shilling. We're done with all that. We talked about some of the things anyway. Judgment Day, how's it going? Well, that's something we already touched on, but I am on 18. Pilgrim bought everything on his NA account, and where are you on the EU account?
EU account, I'm at 24, which corresponded to skills level on Friday.
Nice.
I'm sure he's just racked it out now over the last couple of days, but on Friday, I was at the same level as skill. Not
Nice.
that I'm at the same level at skill, of skill, in the game.
Not for nothing, it's the first and last time you'll ever be at skills level.
Exactly that. That's why I'm boasting about it.
And to be fair, if I was there, it would also be the same for me. Yeah.
Yes.
Stoics on 27. Where are the rest of you guys, man?
Wow.
Bravo, Mike. The theme song was in Pilgrim. Can you give me the names?
Well, it's Sue.
Pilgrim wrote it, and then some of his musician friends, Sue and her husband, I believe, produced it.
Yeah, they long story cut short, they were Sue was a backing singer for Elton John and James Blunt, and so was Wayne, who's better half, who did the guitaring. So I created the words. They were never in that order. I gave them both a lot of leeway to change the order.
Oh, right.
But no, it was actually a historical order. So it was like when we first met, and then you coming down from the mountains of Utah to do your thing, and all that sort of stuff. But because it didn't flow right when they were singing it, they had to sort of chop and change it. I gave them the leeway. I'm not an artiste. So I let them just crack on with it, you know what I mean? So that's why it's.
Rubbish! You are an artist, man. You dabble in the poetry. No, I'm serious.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to do that, so that was awesome.
She used to be a piss artist, but go on anyway.
Well, I'm a piss content creator, so we deserve each other. Here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are.
So yeah, Guido's claim to fame is he's got a song that is sang by Elton John's backing singers.
Absolutely fantastic, man. Absolutely fantastic. All right, so we got guys on 28. Gold for the rest. Artillery's over it. Well, you got a couple days. Just keep playing. You'll get closer. Maybe a couple more.
Maybe.
Unless you're just Mostib 44 OCD. Maybe do it. I feel you, brother. I get it. I do get it.
Yeah, he's OCD it.
World of Warships. I don't know. Have you been playing World of Warships?
Do you know what? I haven't played that in 18 months. I mean, I've still got an account, but I haven't
really
even got the client downloaded anymore. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'd say it's been a year since I played it. Every once in a while, I used to dabble in it. I just started up and play a couple of games, but I haven't messed with it for a while.
I stopped. I've got rid of the client. It's like all the other clients I used to have. Because every 5 minutes you get an update, and then you've got to sit updating.
Yeah.
So I've now reduced it right down to just 2 World of Tanks accounts. That's the EU and the NA one, because it was just pointless. It was just like crazy stuff. You know what I mean?
Yep. All right, cool. Let's see. That is Judgment Day. I did buy the 2 commanders with the gold, using Wargaming's gold.
Yeah, I didn't, to be honest. But yeah.
You know, I miss the good old days, Pilgrim.
You know what?
The good old days in the past when all we had to worry about was Daddy's belt.
Yeah, or the garden cane.
1 week ago, when the only controversy Wargaming had was Daddy's belt.
Yes. Yeah, that was a week ago, wasn't it? A week is a long time in politics, isn't it?
And then, yeah, exactly. And Wargaming. Because people are like, oh, this can't get any worse. And they said, hold my beer.
Yeah.
Watch this.
Watch and shoot. Here's a tangent. You know when you're on the range?
Yeah.
When you're doing your... I take it, you've all got mandatory tests like the British Army has, the British military have. So I'm assuming that once a year you have to go and zero your weapon, fire some bullets, and prove that you can actually hit a target.
Well, in the Air Force, it's a little more limited. Officers had to do M9 qual, but I don't know if it was yearly. Which is
the short.
Yeah, the Beretta, the Beretta, whatever it is. Although I think they're switching that out, but I'm a little out of the loop on that.
So you didn't have to do your long, because you really, as an officer. As a pilot, you did not be expected to have a long on you anyway.
I did twice when I was I did multiple times, but 2 separate times in my career.
When
I was an ALO, right? So I got a M4 qual. No,
cool.
Not M4, right. Not M4. It was the second time was M4. The first time was a GAU 8 or something like that, which was like a precursor to the. It was an NMS-16 with a sliding stock kind of thing.
Got you. All right. Yeah.
And it was actually, interestingly, fully auto. It had a full auto. So instead of 3 bursts, that particular one had that one had a full auto thing.
Well, I don't like the 3 burst, because the 3 burst it's not a useful, for me. It's not useful. You're either single shot or full automatic, because 3 burst. The first one might be on target. The second 2 definitely aren't going to be on target. Do you know what I mean? So, So anyway, coming back to that tangent, is when we're on the ranges, when I used to do the ranges and all the rest of it, the command was watch and shoot. Do you have the same sort of command? and then the targets would flip up and bop bop.
No, what is
at them and away.
So how would that? Oh, so that was the process by which you shot.
Yeah, so basically you'd be in the ranges, you'd be in the wherever
stalls or whatever lanes.
Yeah, and your targets are lying down because they flip up. Your targets are lying down the range, right? And you'll get watch and shoot. So at that point, you can fire your weapon at any point the target pops up.
Right.
So that's the command. So basically, you load with a magazine of X number of rounds, blah, blah, blah. And then targets to your front, watch and shoot, right? Well, when they said watch and shoot, I then let go. I had a Sterling submachine gun at the time, so I let go with a full magazine at no targets whatsoever because they hadn't flipped up. And there was hell to pay. They were jumping up and down the instructors. They were like, Wendy, negligent discharge, blah, blah, blah. And I was thinking, oh, my career's gone down the tubes. Right away, I've just put like 30 rounds down the range. No targets appeared. So anyway, I was very lucky at that point because I had a mate who was one of the instructors, came over and he went, no, guys, the words watch and shoot was said, so he was free to shoot. Whether he hit a target or not, it doesn't matter. Phew.
I was watching
the test.
I was watching and I was shooting.
Yes, exactly. I didn't see any targets, but
that may be more similar. I can't speak to the Army or the Marines. They probably have a much different situation. The Air Force is very very kind of, I won't say civilian range oriented, but very similar to that. So you would go up there, and they would do different scenarios. We would do the braced and standing and then leaning out.
Yeah.
That and the other way from the edge. And a couple other things. The coolest one I ever did was about halfway through my career was when I did the ALO. They had an advanced course that they made the ALOs go through with their M9s. And you did a lot of stuff. You did did some one-handed shooting as if you were wounded. You did some. There was one where you would actually rack it on your belt, like you didn't have one hand was down. How would you rack it? So you'd I thought that was fascinating because dude, you're racking a live gun on your belt and pointing straight down in the. You know what I mean? Yeah. And some of the stuff they had us do, I'm like, are you serious? But it was actually a lot of fun. Then we fired in gas masks and did all that kind of stuff. But that I always remember that qual.
It is an SOP to be racked and have it in holster. But this is about a speed thing. I mean, if you're double tapping, which is generally what SF teaches you to do, is double tap. You want to get that first round down the range as quickly as possible. So you're safety on. You're racked with safety on. Yeah. That is scary when it's on your leg, isn't it? You're thinking, any minute now I could just knock into it and boom, I've lost my toes.
Well, yeah, but we were racking it on our belt. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, like getting the back, catching the back sight on your belt and pushing down and racking the gun.
Whoa,
it was a whole course of all these kind of weird situations that I'm like, okay, that sort of makes sense, but it was a lot of fun, but it was really. Yeah. And it went away pretty quick. They brought it in and they did it. I think it was more. Yeah. I think it was kind of related to some of the spec ops stuff that they were doing, and for some reason they decided to bring some of that element into ALOs. We
used to have the chest rig. We used to have it on the chest.
Yeah.
So we would have it there, and you could draw it quite quickly.
Then we did that. We did some draw stuff. The standard qual has drawing, and generally it's 2 or 3 rounds, and they'll tell you, all right, pick up. This is a 3-round, whatever, and I don't remember all the commands. Cleared to fire, maybe. I don't think that's the word, though. I don't remember what it was. Yeah. To be quite honest, and everyone would be lined up, and you'd wait, and they'd say the command, and then you draw, or you'd come out from behind, or you were already ready. Yeah. You'd fire 2 or 3 or whatever they said you were going to do.
Yeah. All good fun.
Yeah, it was cool.
I mean, that's one of the things that I. Do you don't qualify now as a civilian instructor, do you? You don't have to do any calls at all.
No. Shit, no.
That's the one thing I think in all of the military life I miss the most, because you guys are fine. You're the right to bear arms. You've got your bondukes in the underneath your bed. You know what I mean? But it's the one thing I miss, because I had my own ticket anyway until it all went Pete Tong and we had to get rid of all the licenses. So it's the one thing I miss, just popping down to the range and just having a bit of a black. You know what I mean? It's good fun.
Yeah.
You know, it is a big thing that I miss out at the minute. I don't miss a lot of the stuff like the drill and all that shit.
Yeah.
But I do miss the ranges. I do miss shooting the old Bonduke. Never know one day.
Yeah, the Air Force is funny because a lot of times there were a couple of years, multiple years where I didn't qual at all. I was flying as an instructor, and there was no real reason. Technically, we were supposed to do it every 15 months or whatever it is, but because of slot availability and how many guys were going down range, and the Air Force has a fairly limited capability for it anyway. A lot of it got waived for people who just didn't need it. So we did it when we had to do it, unlike probably the Army, who quals X number of months or whatever it is.
Well, see, this leads on to another question. As a pilot in an F-15C, was I right? F-15C? Did you at any point have to qual on the weapon systems on the aircraft?
Oh, yeah.
Did you have to fire... Did you?
Yeah,
so you were actually letting loose missiles left, right, and centre.
Yeah, in fact, that's what they do here. That's what they do here at Tyndall. The Air Force it's called the WEG, Weapons Employment Group. So it's testing everything from the load, from the ground crew, the squadron's capability to load a jet, take off, have that missile fire, and then hit a target or come close enough. And the WEG, they do multiple different ones. You can shoot at a subscale drone, which is just a smaller drone. They'll have little heat emitters on them for the heat-seeking missiles. Or actually, they do those, I think, too, for some of the radar stuff. Or they fly drones here. So there used to be F4s. When I was flying, it was mostly F4s, unmanned F4s with a guidance package in them.
Wow, seriously? They use the old Phantoms?
Yeah. Well, they've shot them all down. They've shot them all down, and the ones that are left out in the boneyard are not airworthy enough. So now we're on to F-16s. So we're currently shooting down unmanned F-16s. But you don't always shoot it down though, because you don't always they'll put everything in but the warhead, because they have telemetry in that warhead package.
Okay.
So the missile, they'll know how close it got and whether the fusing system, fusing system saw it, and so they'll decide whether or not that was a close enough pass and all that. But occasionally they want to test the whole thing. So every now and again we'll shoot down an F-16 into the Gulf of Mexico. And they bring them back if they can. Yeah, it's cool.
So infantry, they get figure 11 targets made out of wood pop up like that. They don't even get real people to shoot. No, that's naughty. But
so
you know what I mean?
And then we shoot the gun, and we shoot the gun much more often because there's a couple companies.
Oh, got you, like the 30 mil or whatever it is.
Yeah, in fact, the coolest one I did was an F-86 towing the banner. Towing an agate, called an agate. So I'm rolling in, and the banner's behind it. So you're behind it, shooting at the banner, and the F-86 is in a turn, and you're shooting at the banner back behind it, and it's got.
Oh, that must be so weird because you train to like two.
Well, you just look at the banner, and that's your target. I mean, it's not.
You use
that
the banner
big
as the plane. Yeah, cool.
So no kidding, the F-86 just some old geezer that's been flying for a bazillion years. And it's a no-kidding F-86 contract. I don't know if I don't even know if that contract exists, because the last few times I did it was actually a Learjet pulling it.
No.
Yeah, so you got a Learjet with what's called the banner or the agates, the tow. Yeah. So he's got a big long cable, and then that thing's back there, and it has acoustic sensors on it. So it will count how many supersonic rounds go by.
Really? Wow. Yeah. Hey, there's a job for you in your retirement, mate.
Yeah.
Towing a banner around. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? No.
I mean, it sounds really dangerous, but they've never shot down a banner tower.
Haven't they?
I mean, we've cut banners off, because if you hit the cable, you can actually cut the banner.
Right,
we've actually had guys hit the banner.
Wow.
Got too close, and then one guy came.
What with the actual aircraft? You hit the banner.
Yeah, the guy hit it with his wing and came back with some of the cables stuck in his wing.
If you're in the Learjet, you've either got to have balls of steel or just don't care about life. You know, if you're towing that banner, you're like, yeah, whatever.
I mean, it's as safe as it can be. I mean, in World War II around here, one of the gunnery things is they had paint rounds. And, So you were actually being shot at by an airplane with paint rounds splattering the airplane you're flying. Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah, like a...
That is Maverick. That is Top Gun all over, isn't it?
Dude, they did that here, man. That's crazy.
Nah, that's good. But to be fair to the infantry, we do get to do that sort of stuff with... Because when I did my sniper's course with the Barrett, we used the Barrett .50 out at the time. We had tank hulls to fire at, so the old Centurions were out on the ranges. So to be fair, we could shoot tanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair one.
Yeah, so I shot the gun probably half a dozen times.
Cool.
And
yeah, it's very limited on ammo though on an aircraft, isn't it? You haven't got room for tons of ammo.
Yeah, Eagle's only got 950 rounds. 940.
Yeah, so
940,
like
I think, is the max.
No,
it's 9 seconds a gun. 9 seconds a gun, yeah. 6,000 rounds. 6,000 rounds a minute. About 1,000 rounds gives you about 9 seconds. It's 900 rounds gives you about 9 seconds. It seems.
I guess if you're one burst of that is going to take that aircraft.
Yeah, if you consider, air-to-air combat, and you have 900 rounds, and you've got 9 seconds of rounds, you're going for 2 to 3 second bursts. So if you think about it, like in your mind, go click 1001, 1002, 1003. So that's a pretty significant amount of burst. Then you come off. So you got about, I don't know what, 2 to 5 bursts ish.
Right.
And you don't want to, with the Vulcan, you don't want to go zzz and come right off, because that will jam it.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but it's not good for it. You got to let it get up to speed and zzz, and come off.
Right. Okay. So you have to do 2 to 3 seconds.
Yeah, it's like zzz.
So you're not going to do it unless you know you're 100% on target.
Yeah. And if you play DCS at all, you kind of get a really good idea of both. It's longer and less at the same time. I mean, if you try to take on 4 guys with a gun, you better be accurate, because you've got about that many shots at them.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's like, to top and tail this, the gun, to do the gun, effectively you only have to hit the aircraft a few times, because if you hit a critical piece of the aircraft, it's gone, hasn't it? So it's not like you have to put 3,000 rounds into it to get rid of it.
What the heck?
What's happening outside?
Well, my wife has moved my airplane sticks.
Oh yeah, normally they're on the back shelf there.
Bro,
right up room for the Christmas decos.
I was gonna do some BFM academics. What Obrute's talking about is you had to have a 4 aspect on the banner. Aspect is angle off. If you're low aspect, now the bullets are going much closer to the
towards the
toe. So you need a good aspect back there.
Yeah. No, I got
that. So there was definitely a ROE on how you would do it. Training rules, I guess, is really what we call them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Watch and shoot.
Watch and shoot. Yep. Shoot, look, shoot. All right.
There you go.
God, where were we?
Hey, that was a good tangent, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a great one.
So, are we going to get into this?
Yeah. No, you know what? Let's talk about the Chinese line first.
Okay.
Real quickly. How are they doing? So I've been waiting for the stats to start coming out on tanks.gg, and I found this to be fascinating, because it is not what I thought would necessarily happen. It is early yet, so we'll take these with the appropriate grain of salt. But that being said, how are the BZs doing? Well, very interesting you asked that. We're going to actually grab tomato.gg, which is where the stats are. All right. So we come over here. Let's go ahead and sort this stuff. Let's start with the Tier 7, fellas. Tier 7 heavies, what is going on right now with the BZ-58? Well, this is actually fascinating. It is number 4 overall win rate.
Wow, and such a short time it's been out as well.
And played quite a bit, actually, compared to the rest. So DPG, 4th. Frags, sinks down a little bit. Damage ratio, 2nd. Wow. Survival drops down a bit. A lot, actually. Very interesting, guys. So it is nowhere near as bad as I thought the stats would be.
Yeah.
And someone says it's a good tank. I'm starting to like it. I'm starting to like it a lot more. I'm starting to learn how to use the rocketry on it in certain situations where you can gain an advantage. Things like you need to push. Like someone's wounded and it's time to push. And I had that video where knowing when to push is important. So things like that. Another time, and I'll have a video on this, but I was in the Tier 8, the 166, which we'll look at in a minute. I was hold down taking on a T-95. He bounced a couple off the turret. I bounced some off of him. I pulled back because I just fired. I see him. He drives up the road a little bit, and he turns because he wants to go. And this is on that new map with the big castle in the middle.
Yeah, I got you.
So we're down on the building area fighting in the little city section. So he wants to go over and start shooting. He's going to come from above and start shooting guys down there. So I see him. He gets away. I don't get a shot. And I'm like, there's no one behind him. I said, huh. So I just hit the rocket and came screaming around. And it ended about the time I turned. He sees me. I shoot him in the back. He sees me and starts trying to come back up. I hit the rocket again, rammed him, and pushed him off.
Brilliant.
So there's some cool things that the rockets do. So that's the...
I was going to mention that the rockets is good for increasing the ramming power of your tank, isn't it? And... here's the other thing, Endgame when we launch off cliffs to drop on the last enemy.
Ooh, yeah, extra rocket power.
Get some air.
Yeah,
you're gonna get some air with that.
Extra rocket power. All right, so let's go to the Tier 8 and see how that is doing. And it's a different story here because of all the premiums, but check this out. Number one let's just get rid of the premiums because there's so many overpowered Tier 8 premiums it just doesn't even matter. There we go. All right, so it's number one in win rate. It is number one in DPG. It is second in frags. It is first in damage ratio. Third in kill to death survival. Drops down to third. So there you go. Spots number one. Rocket power activate.
Well, there you go. You're getting into... Well, people are using it to get into the position first, aren't they? Or nearly first.
I have that, Sasquatch. I think I have an example of that too. I was fighting it was a VK 100-01, and so I was middle tier, and this was in the BZ-58, and he was pushing in, trying to be the big dog. Unfortunately, we melted his help, and so I pushed in to get side shots on him, and then I saw his turret coming for me, and I wasn't quite fast enough, and I had a rocket boost left, and I hit that, and I just went right away. His turret just couldn't follow me. It was awesome.
Yeah. I think Sutek's right. It is genuinely a powerful mechanic, rocket. Used in the right way.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yes, I think it's much more useful than the double track thing. So, and clear the numbers, fellas, that's what it shows. They're doing very well. If we go back here, I don't think...
How many battles is it? Are they Tier 7?
The 7 had 124, which is third most at that tier.
That's a lot of games played, isn't it?
The other thing I took away from checking this is that the M445 is pretty damn good now. It's number one across the board. Well, it drops down a little bit, but it's at the top where it used to be down middle to lower. So the 4045 is extremely good now.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
APA Woody's in the house.
So there you go, guys.
Boss.
I'm hoping to have some videos on that next week, and we'll do the review on the 166. This one's growing on me. As I said last week, I had a terrible win rate in it. I've clawed it back to 45%, so I'm only five under. Only 5 under right now, so it's going well as far as that goes. My damage is nicely up to 1600, which is more appropriate for my tier 7s for me. So that's cool. Yeah. I'm still climbing on the average XP. I would like that to be much closer to 1,000 than it is at 895, but that was super low because of my losses. So it's definitely coming around. And the 166, I'm quite enjoying, to be quite honest with you. Appreciate that incoming. Thank you. I am doing pretty well with that. I'm at 65, but a much lower number of battles. It's only 20 battles. But
just come back to the tier 7 before you go on to that.
Okay.
I've yet to play it. I've grinded through and got the XP to get it, so I've got it now. It's in the garage. I've got a good crew on it now. So should I then play it? I mean, what's the tips? Play it with the rockets. Save the rockets till later.
So in general, I will use one rocket to get into position, and it's a bit of it's map dependent. Some maps you only need one. Some maps it's a long drive, but I'm tending towards, even on the long drives, I'll use one to kind of keep up with everybody, unless I'm already doing so based on the relative speed of everybody. I do still like to get to spots first and get the first free shot when somebody comes around the corner. So you got to watch the other team's makeup and go, even with the rockets, am I really going to get there first? And if not, then screw it, save them. In general, I try to save half of the rockets. That's not a hard and fast rule, but as in general, half. This one has 3. Right. The tier 8 has 4. It's really nice.
Oh, okay.
It's really.
So as you're going up, you're getting an extra one anyway.
Well, yeah, I think it only goes to 4, but total for the rest of them, as I know. I think.
Does it? Right. Okay. All right.
Artillery is saying the same thing. He uses 1 or 2 and save the other one. All right, I got away from turbo artillery because I didn't find it helping me that much, and this setup has been much better for me. Vents, IA, rammer with a rammer directive, and food. So I am definitely try-harding on this. I put a lot of stuff on this to help this thing out. We got the reload down to 9.57, which is still long, but not horrible.
Not as long.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm doing with this thing. All right. Because I'm old and I've drank a lot of coffee, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break because what's coming up next, my friends, is magic equipment. All right?
Magic.
5 minutes. Be right back.
Offered his help to the mighty Guido to bring some laughter to his love of speedos. To the coffee talk they both came to bring the message of winning ways to all and sundry and the masses. Yes, that's right, lads and lasses. The damage counts, and flexing back will keep you on the right track. Guido is his name, tanking is his game. Guido. Guido is his name, tanking is his game. Guido. So in what? If you want to progress, then seek out.
All right, we're back. We are back. Got my coffee. No longer have to take a leak. Let's see. Catching up with chat. We've been talking about magic equipment. 4Bs, basic bonus bounty bond. BBBBBE. The tier 10 has 6 boosts. I didn't know that. That's good to know. The 9 has 5. All right. Well, there you go. So it does increase. Wow, that's a significant amount of capability, actually, depending on how the rest of the tank is. I didn't really look at
that gets you to position quickly and gives you reserve boosters to go and do what you were talking about.
The 9 is also at the top, and the 10 is also at the top. So whatever you're hearing about how crappy they are, we'll see what happens, as always, in the future. But right now, they're doing really well. Getting an echo off your stuff there, Pilgrim.
Oh, yeah, turning it down now. There you go. Is that better?
Yep. So there you go, fellas. Despite, to some extent, my video saying it's slightly below average, apparently that is incorrect. So we'll see. And all the other hyperventilating about how crappy they are. That I think what's probably happening is people are figuring out some of the better uses for the rocket power, other than just I get there first.
Yeah, yeah.
And they do tend to have some pretty good armor, actually. I don't know what my BZ-58, what is my armor efficiency with that? 0.39, which is okay, not great. But I think the 166 is going to be better. Let's see. 0.65, so there you go. It's got a good turret, and it's approaching usefulness. I will say one thing about this before we get into magic equipment. Be careful with this tank right here. See this angle on the side? It doesn't take a whole lot of side scrape angle before that is completely vulnerable right there.
Yeah, it's quite flat plated there, isn't it? If you just angle that slightly.
I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you guys this because it's kind of interesting. I kept side scraping out, going, this thing's got pretty good armor, and I kept getting hit and panned. I'm like, well, what is going on here? What's happening? And I looked at it and went, oh, well, that's what's happening. It's got quite the weak spot right there, actually. All right, here we go. See that? And that's not much angle. That's not much angle, right? Straight on, pretty strong, right? We got some good armor in here. Some ricochet angles, very nicely angled stuff, all good. Even this is nice, even though it's not very thick. It's 68 millimeters, so that's not overmatchable by anything, I think, other than 200 millimeters or whatever. There is a hatch, so that's a bit vulnerable right there. So weak spot, lower plate standard, right? Kind of standard stuff. But then you side scrape, boop, and even the turret gets weaker. But it doesn't take much before this is very vulnerable. That's a barely angle right there.
Yeah, so, look at that. Yeah. I mean, that as well, the turret is penetrable. You probably tier 9.
Well, the turret would be looking at you, something like that. But, so as you're side scraping out like that, that's all great. Your turret's still good, but look at that bad boy. Oof.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Okay, that's useful. Right. That's good to know.
Well, fellas, we have come to the point of the discussion where we're going to talk about experimental equipment. I will say this from the beginning. Diablo likes the BZ-75. There you go. And that's a endorsement from a good player, from a very good player. So there you go.
Yeah.
I will say, without discussing all of the internal mechanics of it and who said it, the general consensus, not saying every CC thought this, the general consensus about the equipment is WTF, what do we want this or need this for? That's from the gamers side of it.
Yeah.
Clearly, Wargaming wants you to play their game and grind out new stuff and create new content and all that stuff. But I don't know, man. I don't even care.
No.
And I don't mean that in case of I don't care that they're rolling out and I'll deal with it. It's just like I don't even care about it.
No. Doesn't even figure on the radar, does it? However, I'll have the rant right now. What Wargaming are producing by doing this, along with field modifications, along with the ability to apply directives, along with the ability to have bonus and purple equipment, and so on and so on and so on, is they're creating a game where unless you do all that and spend real money to do it, because it's going to cost, then you are at a distinct disadvantage every time you press battle. If you don't do all that, people are going to do that. They're going to have a 10% figure plucked out of thin air, but at least a 10% better chance than you will have every time you press battle. So they're forcing you down the road. They are monetizing this game through the nose. Now, I get it. It's a business. They need to do that. But they're introducing stuff into the game that is not needed, in my opinion. Is not required.
Yeah.
Is not wanted. It's just another thing that you're going to have to do to stay relevant in game. And it's just crazy. I've ignored field mods to date, but I'm going to have to start looking at all this because otherwise you're going to go into game. You might as well be bottom tier with a weak tank every time you go in. Might as well, because you ain't going to be effective.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, there's been good points on videos I've seen. One of the guys is like, well, I didn't even bother really with field mods and other stuff. I just play the game. And to a large extent, I don't bother with field mods. I'll do them, and I'll take the passive bonus. I almost never click on the field mod thing, trade-off thing. I have on occasion, but I don't very much. I have bounty equipment sitting in my garage I don't even use. Why? I don't even know why. It's just... I bounce around tanks so much. I suppose I could do that on tanks I'm grinding or tanks that I'm doing the 100 Battle Challenge. Like, have I done that on AMBT? I don't think so. Let's find out. But it's just so much fiddle faddle.
Yeah.
Right? I haven't chased equipment for a long time in terms of the purple stuff. Doing the rank stuff just to get the purple turbo and all that. And I think it's really relegated at this point to people who, like you said, want to be competitive in the competitive scene or clan wars, who are chasing all that stuff. Or 3 markers, potentially, who want to just min-max the tank.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very interesting in chat. I mean, don't get me wrong, guys. This is not bang the drum, I'm leaving the game, stuff it up your backside and all that stuff. I've got no beef to grind with Wargaming other than I don't want to have to go through this whole charades of getting special equipment fitted, doing field mods, getting this attached to my tank, blah, 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 to be able to just play the game and enjoy it, because my enjoyment level is slowly decreasing. Every time I go out without having all that stuff added, I'm feeling like, the poor man at the end of the street here. You know what I mean? And it's so my enjoyment level is decreasing. And if that's the case, a lot of players, like they're saying in chat here, they've reached a point in the game where one more thing is just going to push them away from the game. Now, whether Wargaming give a damn about that or not, it's irrelevant, because somebody has decided this is the way it's going, and it's going to go that way. So, their attitude is get on board or tough shit.
Well, it's a slow bleed, though. It is, and the game ages, and people wander away anyway. That's fairly standard in the gaming industry.
Yeah, like any game.
But you've got a significant crowd of your hardcore supporters who've been around for a long time, and every time you do stuff like this that they don't want, it's just another brick on the wall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not a and every once in a while you get the guy that will die on that hill, and they're like, I'm quitting because of blah, and which is fine, if that's something that you feel that strongly about. But otherwise, it just becomes this just build up slowly, and what happens is people just start playing less.
Yes, absolutely right.
And then the feedback loop for them is, people are playing less. They need more content. They need more incentives.
Self-defeating,
right?
It
is, isn't it? And then they make these incentives, and like, we need another grind. We need to keep people around. And then people start playing less because they don't want to do the grind. They don't, you know what I'm saying? So instead of balancing and working on gameplay and putting out, but they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. If they don't put out overpowered tanks, people don't want them.
I just want to touch on what Attack Crows has said there. You've reached a point in the game, it's 11, 12 years old now, where there are players that have maxed everything out. They've got all the tanks, they've done the grinds, all the rest of it. People like you, all the tanks, people like me, 2/3 of the tanks get in there. So it becomes less of an incentive to do the grind, because you've either got it all or you're done there. And then the second thing to go with that, actually, is... people will find, it's like anything, any game that has longevity like this, people will find other games eventually, and they will drift away from it because it's not as satisfying as it used to be.
Right.
It starts to become not much fun to play. When you're getting the 15-0 rollovers, when you're getting when you're getting the one-on-ones you have, and you're just at a disadvantage all the time anyway.
It's just frustrating to me. It's just frustrating to me that they continue down that path, when I feel like they don't really need to do that. Like, if they just concentrated for a year on balance, and I don't expect them to perfectly balance a game. That is not... I also don't expect there to not be a flavor of the week or month. But they could kind of
exactly.
There's multiple games out there, multiplayer games, that constantly balance units and characters and stuff for the express reason of making them not the flavor of the month anymore and changing things around and making something another gameplay style that then players have to kind of figure out. And then once they've min-maxed that, they change it up again. There's nothing wrong with that. And that goes back to the whole chieftain BS. Right? Oh, we can't touch the chieftain because all of the players who work so hard to get it will get mad.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, I don't care.
It's your game. Balance it.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, again, and we've said this, and I think every serious player of World of Tanks has said this and keeps saying it, including the CCs, more and more design into the maps. That would be one big thing that would retain players, would give new interest to players.
Yeah.
Never mind all these super tanks coming out and all this sort of stuff. They need to focus on maps, because the same old. Now we've got the same old maps. We've now got super tanks doing the same old maps with magical powers.
Yeah. Yep.
You know.
Yep. Yeah, and the money thing's strong, Wayne. I get it. I mean, we're discussing this with full knowledge of how the real world works and what they're trying to do in terms of make a profit and all that stuff. But I think it's not in their interest to continue to drive people away and make them angry. It's also unneeded complication. So let's talk about the introduction of it, because that's another piece of the problem. It's a completely new piece of equipment, which we already have 3 of, by the way.
Yeah.
So it's not a modification of existing equipment or a way to upgrade existing stuff to a different level. It's a completely different set of equipment with a different way to get it, and you break. So it's a crafting system, is really what it is.
Yeah.
So here you go, fellas. We got crafting has now entered the room. So it's that, which is to a large extent unneeded complicated. So when you get your tank, what do you got to do? You got to figure out what equipment to put on it, of which you have 4 kinds eventually.
Yeah.
You have to figure out how to upgrade one of them with silver, because the bounty equipment has to be upgraded with silver.
Yeah.
You have to figure out how to upgrade the other one with components, with breaking down other components. You have to look at 4 different sets of numbers.
Yeah.
The pluses or minuses of those numbers, then toss in the bonus slot or 2, depending on if you've now had done field mods, which is a whole nother adjustment system.
Yeah.
Right? And then you got to figure out, am I going to use directives, which is another bonus on top of bonuses of what you're figuring out. Yeah. Then you have to decide which consumables you're going to use, whether you're going to use food or octane, and how all those interreact. Yeah. If you're a new player, good Lord.
Yeah. And as, who was it who said it? I think it was Banzai. It creates another currency in game.
Yeah.
It's yet another currency,
right.
Isn't it?
So silver.
Special magical equipment.
Silver, gold, components. What else is there right now? I mean, there's others. Bonds. Yeah, thank you. Silver, gold, components, bonds. And then whatever special events are going on that may have their own. Battle Pass points is kind of a currency.
Yeah.
So Battle Pass points. If there's a special event of some kind with coins or tickets or tokens or whatever.
Free XP, as the guys are saying.
Free XP.
Yeah.
Yep. Blueprints are a kind of currency.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. Spitfire got that. Blueprints.
Yeah. Blueprints. Yeah.
So, to a large extent, if you look at it and go, okay, we want to make a new kind of... Thank you, Crimson. Much appreciated. Welcome. If you want to make a new kind of equipment or modify, okay, I got it. Yeah, some more content. But, again, unneeded complication on it. Yeah. Maybe you find a way to... You know what? And I'm just spitballing here, thinking out loud. Maybe... Because really what this is a combination of regular components into one. Why not build that into your regular equipment kind of thing?
Absolutely.
Make it. Maybe you pay for it with silver. Like that's a currency we already have. So maybe it's 10 million or something insane but doable, where you could take a vert stab and a whatever they got the combos of. I think it's turbo and something else, whatever it is. And then you pay that and you combine that. And now you have that piece of experimental equipment that you built, but it exists within the context of the original equipment, and you get it the same damn way with silver.
Yes. Yeah.
You know?
I'm up for that, because you're using an in-game currency, which I'm quite happy to use to do that. What I'm not going to do is spend time faffing around with all this stuff to make my tank viable in-game. And so I'm going to have a less enjoyable experience every time I press battle, because I won't spend my own time sitting there faffing around with all this nonsense. I just want to go in, load it up with equipment, rounds and consumables, and just play the game.
Plus you leverage a grind that's already there. People are playing already to get silver to do stuff with.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's a familiar currency. Now you've just given them something else to grind silver for, which is playing the game. Why? Well, it doesn't have to be a new kind of currency. You can use existing currency to have people grind. Now gold isn't a grind currency. That's just pure money. These things aren't paid for with gold, although you will probably be able to buy them with money. So I get that. But you could still do that with using silver as the in-game way. If you wanted to buy a bunch of it, then... Plus, oh, by the way, you can buy silver anyway right now if you wanted to buy this special equipment. Oh,
that's right. You got that package. You can buy the gold.
You can buy silver all you want. Yeah. So all the arguments about, well, it's to create a new grind, it's to create a new currency, it's all about money from wargaming. Well, they could incorporate it in an already part of their game that exists that is all about that kind of thing anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the free-to-play could eventually get to it if they, it's inconceivable. No, I don't know, man.
It is inconceivable. Yeah. It is like this, as we said before we started streaming, it's like this juggernaut that is rolling forward, but it can't turn, even though they're trying to make it turn by adding all these bolt-ons and this extra content and this extra things to do. It's just making the thing more unwieldy, and eventually it's going to crash.
So if you try to
crash horribly,
if you try to think of the base reason for it, you go, all right, so is it a case that somebody there went, ooh, let's do this really cool new equipment because it'll be a cool addition and fun for the players? At which point you have to ask yourself, nobody's ever asked for another piece of equipment, really.
No. Or to design it or do anything with it.
So then,
fine.
In fact, they've been complaining about how many different kinds there are. So then you just do the thing people are complaining about, and then it looks like what it probably is, which is just another way to monetize.
Yeah.
You could, like I said, you could do this the way I just said, and you are continuing to monetize, and it doesn't look as obvious.
No. And it gives everybody a chance to involve themselves in that part of the game. Instead of it being, like you and I can't be bothered with it, or because like other people, I can't afford to do that, or whatever. You know what I mean? It gives everybody a chance.
Because if it was competitively viable, your competitive players would grind silver for it, in which case they would be playing the game. Or they would buy silver in order to get the equipment so that they could be competitive. You know, it's... all I'm saying is the entire mechanism for monetizing exists. It's there. You don't need a new one.
Yeah.
You don't
need to create this.
Not a new currency system, I guess is what I'm saying. You could make new equipment system like what I just said, where you pay to combine it, and now that's slightly less stats, but really it turns out to be kind of an extra equipment slot, which is really what they're doing more or less. Although, you know, the combination is generally worse than just using the piece of equipment. Although in some cases it's a little better. And then you have 3 levels.
Yeah, it does say, that's the caveat in the video, isn't it? Because I watched the video. It says in there that there will be a slightly less advantage in that combination, but it gives you the chance to carry extra equipment that you wouldn't be able to. So, yeah.
Which then brings us... yeah, that's true, Woody. I got you. Which then brings us... What's next is another great question from Artillery, but good question. Who the hell knows at this point?
Well, yeah.
Right? We got rocket tanks. We got a new 4th kind of equipment coming out. We've got ranked slash, what's it called now? Onslaught or whatever.
Yeah.
It's ranked but not ranked, but kind of ranked, but also not.
Yeah.
And, oh, by the way, ranked isn't gone, but yes, it kind of is, because clearly it hasn't showed back up. Yeah. Flame tanks, potentially.
Yeah.
Helicopter tank, which then brings us to the rollout.
Yeah. Yeah. Which it just epitomizes what we're talking about. You know, I mean, it's not been thought through. Because obviously it's not been thought through, because the rollout is complete and utter, I want to say, bollocks.
Pants. Pants.
Pants.
Pants.
Absolute pants. Yeah.
So what happened, in case, and I think probably every one of you knows, but we'll say it anyway out loud. This is so awesome. What happened is they rolled it out on a weekend with an equipment 50% sale. And because of the way they coded it, and that stuff is equipment, although I don't know why you would include that in the 50% coding, but they missed that. So when the system went, 50%, and people were breaking them down, they were only getting 50% of the breakdown.
Yeah. So again, not thought through. It was some harebrained idea that some dev sat there and went, look what I thought of, and somebody was tasked to actually make it happen without even trying it, thinking it through or anything else. Unreal.
Now that gets off onto a development tangent, of which I'm probably overselling myself. I have some idea of, if not the actual nuts and bolts of it, but some idea of the complexity or issues that can come up when you're dealing with old code and you've bolted on so many things. That's the kind of thing that gets by the testing. So they've used code or a portion of the code, or it's attached to a portion of the code in the game that does that function of the 50% thing that they've built, and somehow that slipped by the team, the development team, as they were doing all this, that they had attached this component thing to their 50% deal, to their so
yeah, well that smacks to me of individual departments not communicating. That just says to me that they have these disparate departments that just.
Well, see, but why would you? I don't think that would even. There would be no. So somebody needs to have oversight to think of that stuff. I agree with you there. But they would.
The top down look.
Yeah, but they would have no idea that the development team grabbed some of that code, or that it was linked in, unless they had a very robust and significant QC team.
That's the point, and that's the point.
Yeah, but I don't know if once it gets
QC.
But once it gets that complicated, Pilgrim, I'm telling you, it's. I don't want to say it's impossible, but it's extremely difficult when you start to have that much code and legacy crap kludged together. It becomes an issue. I don't know if there's any coders out there, but I think they know what I'm talking about. And clearly it got away from them here.
You've got algorithms that should be able to deal with that. You should have a bot system where you can interrogate a line of code or a series of code and play out all the scenarios before you release it out into the wild. Surely, I mean, that's responsibility. Isn't
well,
it?
That's part of the development team's thing. You're supposed to test the stuff, but I don't know.
Never went, as far as we know, it never went into super test or anything like that, did it?
Well, they would test it internally. There's no reason.
Okay.
Well, that's not true. See, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. It worked in test. Right? The problem is it was attached to the 50% thing that they turned on the weekend. So yes, it worked.
That's what they missed. They missed having all the parameters
in place. That's what I'm saying. They did, for whatever reason, somehow that was still attached to the 50% thing. And I'm trying to think right now, because it's, I suppose they could do kind of equipment bonus, not necessarily a sale, but maybe it's costs half as much or something in the future. There could be a mission like that, or
but they must have that ability to be able to extract that information and apply it to a new thing coming in. But you're saying it's a lot of coding to go through, but they will have a system of checking the coding before it goes out. Surely.
Woody, yes, good question. So what happened is they they put it on. They put the system on our media accounts and press accounts. Put it on there so we could play with it. I hadn't really got. I looked at it and kind of was figuring out what's going on, but I hadn't really pressed any buttons because my intention was to make a video, and I wanted to go from the beginning and kind of tell you guys how this worked and learn it myself. I looked at it and I kind of did some of the math in my cranium, and I'm like, okay, I think I understand what's going on here. I went to work and whatever, and then I think that was the day before the weekend, and they had a release date. What was it? Was it Friday it was supposed to release? They gave it to us Wednesday.
I think it was Friday, yeah.
And so when the first CCs were messing with it, the sale wasn't on, and it was working as we thought it would work. So people were making videos and stuff, and then Friday happened, and I think I don't know if some people actually released videos or not. They might have. I don't know. The release was at like midnight for me, and I hadn't done the content. I'm like, whatever, I'll deal with this later, because I was kind of the mindset, F it. I'm kind of tired of this stuff. I'm not jumping through this hoop. I'll figure it out later and do a video for you guys later. But then, so I'm at work Friday, and Friday afternoon I come back home and I'm looking at all this stuff. I'm like, what the hell's going on? People are freaking out here. and then when I figured out, I'm like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. So yes, we did. That was a long story of how we did get it. And when the initial guys were looking at it, and if I'd have done it that day, it was going to work right. But then the sale, 50% sale thing came along, and then it borked it. So when they tried to release it, people were getting half the resources they were supposed to get.
Yeah. I mean, there's some good comments in here coming off, but who mentioned common test? Because surely you could throw it into common test, and these sort of things.
Yeah, but you can't know. No, you won't know until you have a sale.
Unless they did a 50% discount. Yeah,
right. There was other than a serious test that somehow took into account everything possible.
Well, that's what Wildebeest was saying. They could have put the 50% discount into the common test and done it that way.
They could have, but what? But who knew that was even in the code? That's what I'm saying.
Disconnect. The disconnect. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean.
Yeah.
I don't know how you would find that necessarily, unless somebody just thought about it. Like someone was no shit familiar enough with the game, with sales.
That's the point. Yes.
With the code, with understanding how they've designed and wired all of the equipment stuff in their code.
Yeah.
That they would think about, you know what, we got to make sure this thing isn't attached to sales.
Yes.
Right? To the 50% off thing.
Or any form of discount. Yeah.
Yeah, Bonzi, because maybe when they built it, the guy who did it thought of that. Maybe that's guy isn't around. Who knows? That's the thing, man. You know, somebody said that Air G or somebody kind of knew based on the patch notes when they had changed team members, because that's something my buddy who does all of our coding talks a lot about. Is he gets really mad, and he actually gets mad at himself sometimes if you don't write down notes on what you're doing with your code and what does what, and you don't. The next guy sometimes can't. It just takes him a long time to figure out what the hell's going on. Yeah. And you get multiple iterations.
That's like when you take over a job from anybody in any sphere of life.
Yeah.
We used to call it the 6-month trial period, where it would take if you get posted 2 years posting, and you get into your new job, whatever it was. It takes you 6 months to get your head around everything before you can actually be effective. You know what I mean?
Well, it's even worse with coding because coding is forever. All that legacy shit's in there. It's there. You know, and you got to work around that. If you're not the guy who made it, you're praying you got good patch or good notes, good code notes on there, and what the hell's going on.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Documentation, that's the word. Thank you, Bonzi.
Yeah, documentation. Always first to
that's what he calls. He says, you gotta put your documentation on your code so people know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Again, if you've got a game as big as this, which it is, I mean, wargaming is massive, and World of Tanks is huge worldwide, then surely somebody in the QC department, somebody has to take responsibility for this sort of stuff before it goes out to the public. It has to be stringent, surely. Or is it like Woody's saying, they're just throwing it out there because it's going to happen whether the customer base likes it or not?
Oh, I'm sure there's somebody in the company who's responsible for that.
Yeah.
Well, I have no doubt that there's a QC quality control aspect of their development side that supposedly tests as much. I'm sure they went through the motions of doing it. It's just this one was kind of tricky. And again, I'm completely speculating that they just sort of used other stuff because clearly it was connected to it somehow, right?
Yeah.
Somehow it got connected to the 50% thing. Fairly obvious that's true.
If you're going to goober up, you goober up in style, don't you? And I guess they have. I guess they've just done the typical... I mean, we're now saying the typical wargaming thing because they've done it so often for so many times that it just feels like it's a normal thing for wargaming to do.
When it was
release something, it's a complete and utter pants idea, and it's gone to the dogs.
Well, this was the double whammy, though, wasn't it? Right? Because this is a pants idea, and it was, and the rollout was pants. It's double pants.
Yeah, it is double pants, isn't it?
It's underpants and pants.
Pants.
Yeah, it's underpants and then pants.
It is. It is definitely skid marked.
You know, it's going to come more than likely, and then we're going to get Crew X.97.69.
Yeah, whatever the Crew is going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which will not be thought about.
Strange days, my friends. Strange days. Well, we're at 2 hours.
And then we come full circle, Guido, to the mechanic of it. For me personally, despite all the goober up stuff, eventually it's going to hit and run properly at some point. But then why? It comes back.
Yeah,
to
that's the whole thing.
Why have the bloody thing in the first place?
Yeah. Literally,
it's a lot of effort for nothing.
Literally, from what I can tell, nobody wants it. And I know that's a broad statement. I have no doubt there's somebody sitting around going, "Ooh, cool! I want to do this." Clearly, there's going to be customers who are interested in it for lots of different reasons. Maybe for the advantage, or now they can do more builds. Some people are really into the whole build thing. That's kind of a mechanic that's very common in multiplayer games right now. Different builds. This is obviously what they're attempting to do. Right? Yeah. Clearly the money thing and the grind thing, but also this idea that I can make these specialized builds and it makes it more interesting for the customer.
Yeah.
I have always liked this game because it didn't have much of that.
No, it was a straightforward game.
It was more about how you played the tank.
Yeah. The build... Exactly. This is what I'm saying about my enjoyment level. For two reasons has gone downhill slightly with this. I mean, I'm not going to stop playing it and going on the forums and gob off, but for two reasons. It's that I'm now at a disadvantage every time I press battle, or even buttle. And then secondly, I've got to go through this whole faff and rigmarole to actually play the game. I can't just go out and play it.
Yeah.
Whereas I could spend 4 hours just doing it, playing the game every night. Love it.
The build was the tank.
Exactly.
That was the build.
The modules, everything else, the XP that was attached to it.
You had crew, but there weren't a whole lot of skills. So I just hindsight, the whole everything was better in the past. That's not necessarily what I'm saying. I just that's a core. I'll call it a mechanic, but a core design feature. I'll call it that.
Yeah.
Core design feature of this game that I quite enjoyed is that there wasn't a lot of that building specialization.
Messing about, faffing around.
Yeah, it was just a very straightforward 15v15. If you learned a lot about the different tanks out there, you were in pretty good shape, and it was interesting. It's still a good game. At the end of the day, I'll continue to play it. I'll probably I'll
still play it. It's a good point that was made earlier on is that people like Skill and Quickie Baby have actually set out with the experimental equipment and create, like they have done with other things, they've created a monster of a tank.
Yeah.
And showing how that can happen.
Yep.
I think Dez does that a lot as well.
He does.
With people out there making this tank 200% better because they can do all of that together.
And it's interesting because the few buffs and nerfs that we've had along the way, and it tends to be more often tech tree because they'll fiddle with those a lot more. It's interesting how little it takes to put something back at the top. Like they didn't buff the M445 very much, but now it's at the top.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much. So now you start.
Much, does it? Yeah.
It doesn't really. You fiddle with some numbers and you start getting these builds where you can really get outliers on certain capabilities, and you've created extremely good tanks as opposed to just a little bit better. You know.
Yeah. There'll be people out there who are clever enough to work that out. I'm not, so therefore I don't want the mechanic in the game.
Yeah, and we can still play. And I'm like I said, I don't do a lot of that stuff. I do some of it. I still enjoy the game. I still do well enough to not worry about it too much. It's still a learning process. So there you go. So there you go, fellas. So put the torches and pitchforks away. We'll see what happens. It'll be interesting if they try to redo this next week or. Man, they're taking a beating though. They're definitely people are definitely not liking it. So we'll see if they listen. I doubt it, but who knows?
No. I think the fact that they released it once into the wild means it's gonna be there. You can't
this idea that the CCs and the community have that much pull and remember. You and I are sitting here talking about as if that's the whole player base. That's a very small, concentrated group of vocal people. Forums, Reddit, Twitch. You know, I don't know what percentage we are. 1, 5, maybe at the top end. Who knows? But it's small.
Yeah.
You know. All right, cool, guys.
Yeah.
I think that's all I got. Pilgrim, you got anything else?
I've got nothing. Just on the competition front, guys, because of all the stuff that's been happening with Christmas and now the lunar packages and everything else. We'll do the competitions. We'll start Pilgrim's competitions in February. So, and it might start with a bang, actually. There we go. It might start in February with a bang. It might be something worthwhile entering the competition for.
A medium lunar box.
Yep, just to get all your figures up. -1.
Yeah. Let's see. Who is up and going?
3 components. Yeah, it could be. Dear, oh dear.
Trying to see
Talk to me, Goose is not up. No.
I don't see any of the usual people I raid. We'll just raid someone random. Maybe we can get somebody who's destroying his room. Mr. Average. Mr. Average 97.
Sleep on the bed channel. Get that one.
Mr. Average 97. That's who we're raiding. I know nothing about this person, so apologies if it goes sideways.
Pilgrim Commander, absolutely. Thanks very much, everybody.
All right, guys, much appreciated. We're rating Mr. Average 97. He has 1 viewer. He's about to have however many of you go. Go check it out. Give him a follow if he's worth it. I don't know anything about him. That's Guido signing off from the left side of the Atlantic.
Pilgrim signing off from the correct side of the Atlantic.
See ya.